It's time for everyone's favorite segment, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Rewind. Fucking StreamYard. Okay, so bookmarks. We head into Dave Meltzer. Dumb Moment of the Week. I've stockpiled a few here I got for you guys. We're going to laugh at the goober. I got tagged in this. This is via Mr. Medicine Spoon. So, Phil, you have to hear this from the brother of Tom Cole calling. Oh, no, sorry. We're gonna EFAP that on the next show. So, let's move along here. Sorry, AEW neckbeards. Here we go again. So this guy DJ Moran says, "Be like you when watching sports, or it's my fault that AEW can't time a scripted show correctly. How very bootstrappy of you." And this is in regards to Dave Meltzer again being like, Bryan, and trying to talk about be like me and record the next show. You must not like sports if you don't record the next show, even though the scripted show can't time an overrun like NXT. So Dave Meltzer goes, they can't. Name me an episode that went off the air without the final planned scene. Someone accept that challenge. I guarantee that happened. I guarantee it's happened before the first ever All In went overtime and they had to rush everything, dude. So just stop, Dave. Someone will call you out on that and own you. When you are allowed an overrun by the station, fitting into that overrun, allowance is like, it's timing correctly. Cope Meltzer with another one. Dave Copeland. According to Bryan, last night on Dynamite, Jon Moxley was portraying Russell Crowe's character from Romper Stomper. So the rumors have it that Moxley, Marina are coming in and Shane McMahon is going to be their person, their manager, invading AEW. That's cringe. And if the AEW sickos are saying they enjoy that, then they like WWE. It's that simple. It's just that simple. There's no denying it anymore. So you'll have Harvey Weinstein's son in the company. And then what about Shane? Does he feel like, is he like WWE because you guys kind of pigeonholed my dad out? Or maybe that's his perspective, not what I'm saying, but you guys got my dad, whatever. I could see that being like a thing, but that's just cringe. It's just boohoo WWE. And it's like, all ex WWE people, other than, Marina Shafir was in NXT, I think, for like a minute. And I just think that's garbo, in my opinion. But apparently Moxley, though, is putting together this faction, and he's portraying Russell Crowe's character from Romper Stomper. This is Russell Crowe's character from Romper Stomper. This is what that movie's about. A group of skinheads become alarmed at the way their neighborhood is changing. And they're neo-Nazis. Okay? Here's what the movie is. Okay? And this is what... Now, listen to what Bryan says. He goes, this isn't me breaking news or anything, or this isn't me, speculating. That's what it is. I know that. So Moxley told them that's what it is. So Moxley's playing a Nazi, bro. And, you can try and spin this any way you want to. Why would Mox tell anybody this? This is the problem with being friends with dirt sheets, and this is the problem with AEW loving the sheets. Okay, let's say you are emulating aspects of the character. Then make sure that the media that you shill to and hang out with and have brunch with Moxley, make sure you tell them to say what I just said. Well, there's certain aspects. Obviously, he's not a Nazi, but there's certain aspects of the character he's drawing inspiration from. Right? But to just go and be like, he's playing Russell Crowe from Romper Stomper. That's exactly who he is. This is a spoiler. It's just, I'm telling you. It's like, that's not can you, I don't know, man. These guys are just idiots.
What did you think about Jon Moxley unleashing Marina Fear on the...
We talked about that.
The backstage guys, though.
We talked about it.
Yeah, sorry, and I know I might have said the N-word, the other N-word, YouTube doesn't like it, chat, sorry, just say Motzi or Yahtzee or something, you know what I mean? Because, I messed up and said it too, I'm sorry about that, but just make jokes about that all you want, but just don't, I don't want to get stricken or Don Stevens over, I don't know what YouTube likes, man, they're a little all over the place lately, it's rocky, they changed their mind on a whim about what's acceptable and not to say on the shit, but I don't know, But yeah, it's just say like Yahtzee or something. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, listen to what Bryan says. He doesn't like clarify it really or justify it. He just kind of goes, that's what it is. And it's like, okay, so imagine someone Googles this, sees, well, he's emulating a skinhead. Like,
well,
I mean, the backstage actors
very good,
were beyond. It was because of the actors in the back. They were so horrible. I mean, my God.
What movie did Jon Moxley watch?
I actually know the movie you watched.
What is it?
Because
there's going to be things that are going to have to be explained if this is going to be one of those we're taking it from legitimate movies and weaving it into wrestling. Because
Romper Stomper, Australian cult classic, 1992. He was playing Russell Crowe in what he was doing.
All right,
not making this up.
So that's clearly he's like, I know the movie because he's texting Mox. So then he goes into his text with Mox. I'm telling you guys what happened, okay? And he sees it and goes, oh, Romper Stomper, whatever. Because Mox told all these dirt sheets how they're Sports Illustrated, I bet, how they're going to get this gimmick over. Like, because in AEW, they don't do the storytelling there, which kudos to Mox for trying. They do it all on social media and just expect people, Excalibur, to just list off things as people come to the ring. So, yeah, I don't know. Moxley is a skinhead, dude. So that's who he's emulating. So,
yep, that's a scoop for you.
Maybe with Punk gone now, we can go back to some of the Rocky storylines because most people have seen Rocky.
Why is he stealing storylines from movies? Why is that what Mox does? Why are you guys so don't have creativity of your own? Dave, when will you learn? AEW is hot right now. This guy says, Bruce crap, AEW's hot right now. And then Meltzer goes, Dynamite was #1 on cable. Got the full chart. And it's not #1 on cable. It's #1 on cable in the world of goofy wrestling. So dumb, man. We've broken it down ad nauseum. I'm not going to break down why they're not #1 on cable. They're #1 in a demographic for that time, but whatever. You guys already know. So this guy goes, a bunch of people are getting fed up with Wavy Davey, man. And they go, no, Dave, you told us the indie flippy bad comedy wrestlers would be the future of wrestling and attacked anyone who rejected that notion. Facts. You can gaslight your naive subscriber base, but the rest of us see right through you. Meltzer goes, cite an article where this was said and what ended up accurate or inaccurate. You said a guy was dead who wasn't dead until the next day. That's all that needs to be said. And their kid had to come out and go, you're a piece of shit. And you didn't even make a phone call. How about the thing you posted on your message board? And I know it's not an article. That's what you do, play semantics. Well, that's not an article. With your tongue out. That's not an article. Okay, but you still are the news. You're posting it saying you got inside sources and it was just some posted to Fightful's Discord. You're a goof, Dave. We do it all the time. Oh, cite anything inaccurate? Welcome to PWT. That's literally what the we do here, Dave. Jesus. And then Dave goes on and says, just because your imagination made something up doesn't mean it happened. Yeah, that's a choice. That's pretty ironic you saying that, Dave. Projection. He's projecting, dude. Dave makes up these scenarios in his head. He's the reason everyone thinks WWE low ball and said all this stupid. He's just making up. And then he runs with these narratives and all these sheets, fantasy mark book, fake scenarios in their heads about that isn't even true. Annoying. So moving along, we have Meltzer said what the GOAT says. It's amazing that all of Dave's WWE sources, which have been almost always wrong in 2024, exclusively share with him negative views about the company they work for or weaponized quotes that fit his narrative. So here's Meltzer saying, according to the WWE side, the AEW deal and the offers to Garcia and Strickland were considered bad for the sport because the offers are so far over what WWE perceives as the market value for both Garcia and Strickland. Here's the thing. WWE is the pro wrestling market, and they are the standard bearer. What they deem someone is worth is likely what they're worth unless you have things that can prove otherwise. So does Swerve sell out of all of his merch? Is he the top highest rated TV segments? Are the houses packed when he shows up to them? Is he, you know what I mean? These are ways they look at it. And Swerve has one of the lowest rated, and it's no fault of his own, but one of the or maybe you could say a little bit of it is his, but one of the lowest rated title runs in the history of, or in AEW history, which isn't that long. But and Garcia's just a nobody. I don't even believe WWE offered him a contract. And if they did, he'd just be in NXT. Like, they don't, you know, it's like they don't see, for the love of God, I hope they didn't even offer him. And apparently Garcia showed up at All In with like a handshake. Like, he's not even signed or anything to AEW still. And they have him in one of the biggest storylines with MJF, right? That's why I don't believe he doesn't have a contract. Because how does he not have a contract? And they did it before with the title. They had Mox walking around without the contract and without a contract and the title, and he was wrestling Punk and all that. And so, yeah, they have Garcia walking around without a contract, showing up at All In and getting involved with MJF, and he's one of your biggest stars. What happens if Garcia goes, yeah, no, I'm going to WWE? What happens if he does that? Then what? You guys, I don't know. And WWE says that it's bad for the sport. It is to overprice and overvalue people like that. Like, that's what WCW did to WWE. And if the business up, because it almost put WWE out of business. And then what would have happened if that happened? Where would all of those wrestlers gone into WCW? Hogan and them would have just kept burying them and everything. And the other thing is like this. When the NWO came back to WWE, they're taking less money to do that than they did in WCW, for sure. And they all still came back, dude, because it's more than that. It's more money in the long run. It's bigger, greater legacy in the history books of WWE. Like, in 50 years, what will people remember historically about AEW? In 50 years, do you guys think it'll be when? Because everyone goes, well, WWE has a 50-year head start. Okay, so in 50 years, what do you think AEW will be? And then they look back at their history, and is it Hogan and Andre and all of this? And like all these crazy moments or is it Swerve hanging Hangman and just the devil that they did a year of television based around that had zero payoff whatsoever, literally zero, none, nil payoff. Like, it's really TNA, they TNA'd themselves, you know, but even TNA was like on fire at the beginning, you know? So, yeah, it just overprices wrestlers that are worth that much. That's the thing. And it's bad for the sport because all it's going to do is make people run Tony Khan's wallet up. So he's an idiot. And then they're going to go to WWE thinking they're worth more than they are. That's why it's bad for the sport. You guys don't get it. And these people want to sit there and argue like AEW's been good or any of these people are draws. Like, okay, the art form hasn't been good itself, period. Just being honest. And the business aspect numbers have not been good. So just objectively speaking, AEW hasn't been good, man. And I know there's some good, you got to trudge through some and you get some gold here and there, but it's just overall WWE's constantly gold. So, and they want to be the competition, right? So it's crazy to me that we even have these discussions, or they try and put this on, or people can't comprehend how this is bad for the sport. They try and go, oh, what? Because WWE deems it? No, but who else? So, okay, is TNA giving people more money than WWE or AEW? No. Is New Japan giving people more money than WWE or AEW? No. They're the two places giving the most money. So, yeah, these two companies dictate what people are worth, period. So it's like, you guys are dumb if you don't understand this. Anyways, so Meltzer said what? Let's read Wrestling Observer. Another major story of the week was that the announcement that Swerve Strickland had signed a new deal. Based on what we've been told, this deal locks him up through September 2029. It was well known that WWE tried to make a play for Strickland and Prince Nana act. The deal was reportedly, it is well known. Who? Because you guys said it? Does that make it well known? The deal was reportedly agreed to a few weeks back, but they saved the announcement for here. People were talking about how Strickland had become a rich man with a new deal, and it's believed to be among the biggest deals in pro wrestling, although would be well below the Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton level. It's probably in the range of the Okada-Monet range based on what we're hinted about regarding those deals. Okay, and their range is what? Like $5 million is what they're saying. Is Swerve worth $5 million, man? I'm not trying to shun him, bro, and good for him. But like based on where do you get the so Wembley was an above 5 at 45,000 tickets all in. Tony Khan said that Wembley was a $5 million gate. So they did like 50K. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. So they made $5 million. So that pays for Swerve alone. That's not Monet. That's not Okada. That's not the Bucks. That's not Omega. That's not Mox. That's not Edge. That's not Sting. That's not Darby. That's not Whack Perry. That's not any of these guys, man. Okada, I might have said him twice, but they're giving him the money. So you know what I mean? Like Jericho, that doesn't factor into any of those other things. Just Swerve 5 million. Yeah, dude, that's bad for the sport. I'm sorry. It's good for the people's wallets. And yes, it's good for fans who just want to consume wrestling for sure. But is that what's best for business? No. And is that going to leave a better wrestling business behind? No, it's not. Because why? Well, how come, Phil? Because these people give them less money and give them health care if you really care about them and really change the business, Tony. Work in the deal that they get less money, but they get full 100% dental and healthcare and all that. Put that instead of just giving them all this money up front or whatever, right? And then truly change the sport for the better. But you're not doing that. You're just flooding the market with money. You're just saturating it with money. You're just throwing a bunch of money into wrestling that doesn't go back into wrestling. All of WWE's money is going back into wrestling and paying the talent and doing all these crazy, developing the next generations. Your money isn't even doing house shows. You're just flushing it down the toilet. And that's why people have something to say about it. Good for Strickland, but man, I don't even think his music video for his songs hit 1 million views, let alone the dude's getting $5 million. Is that what you mean to tell me? Wild, man. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton level. It's probably in the range of Okada and Monet, whatever. We read it. Here, let's read this. The deal and the offer to Garcia were told to us by someone on the WWE side. Every time they say someone on the WWE side, it's never real. For Garcia and more than one on Strickland as being bad for the sport because they're so far over what WWE would perceive the market value for both to be. See, the way they spin this, they're overpaid because WWE says so. It's their opinion. No, that's the opinion of the masses. Go ask any economist. Why don't we get a real economist to come talk this? Ask any Uber fan, Mark. Ask anybody, Dave. That's real, that you can name, put a name to. Not just, oh, this guy told me that we never tell you who that is. Those people are working you or they're just bad at their jobs, dude. You have no real source there, dude. And like, yeah, what WWE perceives because they're the ones hiring WWE. So if AEW didn't hire Kevin Owens because the same thing, because apparently they perceived his deal to be too high compared to what WWE was going to pay him. You guys aren't writing our articles going, oh, it's oversaturated or pardon me, it up the market value according to AEW. The reality is WWE can afford anything. Yes, that's exactly it, you elitist, goofy babies. Tony Khan is a spoiled rich kid who can afford anything. So he just gets, new toy. That's exactly the problem. Just because you can afford to go out and eat dinner, go out and eat at a restaurant every night doesn't mean you should. Okay? Doesn't mean you shouldn't either. But it also doesn't mean that that's good for business, just spending money willy-nilly. Man, AEW still has to spend with some caution, where the idea they'll be so profitable, then we'll erase the first 6 years of losses won't be the case. See, and look at this. This is fantasy mark booking by these sick weirdos. This idea you guys invented and have been pushing out there that they will be profitable after year 6, which that wasn't ever you guys are saying year 5 and the TV deal, but there's still no TV deal. And this is what you guys invented. There's no idea they'll be profitable. Clearly, Tony Khan doesn't have that idea either. You guys made it up and tried to make it a thing, and then Fantasy Mark booked it. And now this TV deal, it's not going to be uber profitable. Because it doesn't matter. Brandon Thurston himself said they lost about $150 million. So if they get $100 million back, they're still operating in the red. Okay, even if it's double the TV deal, which I'll be happy if they get a fat one, but they're not going to spend the money correctly, and it's just going to pay back to just pay off the bad they've already done. So that's why it's not exciting. Okay, That's why I like, you guys understand that? I'm not going to cry if they get a TV deal, but and they're going to get some sort of deal. But it's just like, I'm not also going to be surprised if they don't, or if they do, or if it's not putting them in the green. Like all these, it's not $1 billion. No, like if they get one, okay, it won't shock me either way it happens. But it's like we like, you know what I mean? It's not going to be in the green, even if they get 100 million, which would be like generous, in my opinion, just based off what other people have say to me. Evil Dose, people smarter than me. And if I said 100 million, he would scoff at that and be like, how do they get 100 mil? And I go, well, that's just kind of the rumors, So it's really like if they don't even get that, like they lost 150 the 1 year. Now, companies don't have to be in green all the time. I say it all the time. It doesn't matter if you're in the green. You can operate at a loss. Businesses do it all the time. Sometimes they operate in the red until like 10 years deep, and then they hit it huge. But all we're saying is like there's obvious ways that he could be investing this money into house shows and the indies and making wrestling better for everyone. And that's not lowballing people, right? But it's like, give Swerve $2 million, right? And then put on some house shows for the next few months. Do some little ragtag indie 400 people venues and film everything for the next 6 months with that other 3 million or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to, and I'm not saying Swerve shouldn't get money, but Garcia, like what are they offering him? $1,750,000 a year even? Do you think like, pardon me, Garcia. Yeah. If they're giving Garcia even like, do you think he's worth $500,000 a year? I don't know about all that. Now I'm not saying he's worth 30 grand a year, but like, come on, man. This guy gets signed in NXT for what? He's lucky if he's making 100, 200 grand a year. Like super lucky for that, for where he's at and what he's done and what he's drawn and all this. And Tony Khan's an idiot too. And I see the super chats. So sorry to keep you guys waiting, but Tony Khan's an idiot because you'd think that he would. So he lets him without a contract negotiate with WWE and then has Garcia show up at their biggest show and get a big reaction involved with MJF and build his stock up right before the guy could just walk out on you. Like, it's just terrible business management. Dementia Meltzer makes me want to scream. The worst part, as someone who went to college for journalism, is his lack of fact-checking. Exactly. All he has to do is make a phone call himself. Instead, he lets little stooges and little birdies tell him and they're all little white lies. Second thing I hate is opinion-based reporting presented as fact. Exactly. That's why I don't present my as fact, and I'm dumb, and don't listen to me. I look at what these say in the news, I show it to you guys, then I give my opinion on that. And I'm good at pattern recognition. So if I'm right, I'm right. You know what I mean? Might have some wrestlers come on the show, I chat them up a bit in the DMs. Might have some wrestlers' relatives who've been on the show that I chat up in the DMs. So maybe there's a little insight there too. But I'm never going to sit there and be like, yo, this is 100% like the news. I don't want to be the hot news, man. It's so cringe. And I don't blame people if they do, but you have to have at least call someone. Dave, with your own 2 little measly thumbs that are tweeting all day, you can pick up the phone, dial up a source if you have real credible ones, and figure out if Offa's past RIP or not before you say stupid shit. Call Pat McAfee before you, or someone who works with his podcast or whatever, before you say he's going to be gone because the Wyatt, obviously, didn't you see it? Be like me and record the show 10 minutes later. He's an idiot. It's gross and disgusting. Jon Moxley's new gimmick in AEW is reportedly inspired by Russell Crowe's character in the 92 film Romper Stomper. There you go. Biggest fail of all time, I would say. That's a huge one, dude. It's not a good look to just have that be put out there. Dave Meltzer on Kevin Owens' WWE contract expiring soon and comparing it to Swerve Strickland's new AEW deal. Speaking of Swerve. So Dave says Owens' contract, which was a 3-year deal, which at the time of signing was one of the highest in the company and in wrestling, will be due in early 2025. At the time, AEW, Batman, AEW was aware and didn't attempt to match his big offer. Tells you something about how salaries have escalated in the last 2+ years. So Dave, see, earlier you put this spin and say WWE values him, and now all the sickos are crying about it. And then here you go, at the time, AEW was aware of the money and didn't attempt to match his big offer, which tells you something about how salaries have escalated in the last 2+ years. So AEW does it good, WWE does it bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally that in real time. We just caught you, you dumb bastard. We know that you're making this up. We know that you're a liar.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
And you're shilling. And if it was this year, there's a good chance they would have tried to match the deal. So, Dave, this is precisely why overpaying people is bad for the industry. Okay? Because then WWE, or let's say they do match it, and WWE gives Kevin Owens a bump. Right? And then they do match it, or they give it even more. Then you're outvaluing like Swerve. If Swerve's making 5 or whatever, KO's got to be worth 5. But now you got people in AEW who haven't drawn a dime getting paid as much or more than WWE guys who are selling out buildings all over the world, wrestling night in, night out, actually making the business better when they leave it. That's people say they love wrestling. You don't, because you're trying to hotshot book wrestling and leave it worse than and you're leaving it worse than when you guys got in it. That's what AEW's been doing, man. At first, it made everything better. Then the trajectory of things just changed. And they make everything worse now. And legacies get ruined. Ricochet's in there. Osprey's getting bigger pops than him, which is fine in AEW, but he's going to the limit with Fletcher. And we got to believe like Danielson or he's going to go toe-to-toe with Osprey. It's just so stupid. He's lost in the shuffle 2 weeks in. Ricochet, we're talking now. And it's like he probably makes some money, no more house shows. So I don't know, man. Is that good? Then you don't get some of these experiences. Maybe he feels like he experienced it all. I'm not on Ricochet, but that's why. So Dave is just, again, hypocritical Dave. The Strickland deal is well ahead of the Owens deal, which is at $2.25 million. And $3 million over 3 years was considered huge at the time. It's still huge, Dave. It's only not considered huge because they're giving Swerve in $5 million. See, he won't say $5 million, but he's going well ahead because it's $5 million. Okay, I just told you guys before. I don't tell you things unless I know. It's $5 million. Okay, okay. People like to tell me. I've seen so many different notes of what people have from different things, and I'm not saying any of them are true, but I look at what numbers are similar in that range. And Tony Khan does these certain deals, man, where that 5 million number is like where people's at. He's getting 5. Okay. That's what I am to believe. Okay. But don't listen to me. I'm a dumbass. Anyways, though. So we move along. Dave Meltzer. I don't know. Even if he's right here, he himself. So Darby Allin beating Danielson for the AEW World Championship has been strongly talked about. So why are you killing it for the people who watch the show week in, week out? Why are you telling them what's going to happen on the TV show? This is why people don't appointment view AEW, because you guys stooge Edge's debut. You love to talk about, make it known who's coming over and when. Like you think that's going to attract people over there. No, it's going to make people not want to watch this. And you guys would do more with the element of surprise, but instead, y'all love to talk to the dirt sheets. Drives me insane. WWE reportedly tried to make a play for Swerve and Nana. I mean, if you want to be real about it, they're both ex-WWE guys already. People in WWE believe Tony Khan is, Nana's ex-WWE guys. People in WWE believe Tony Khan is spending more than he needs to, calling the new contract. Okay, so more on this. The Strickland deal and the offer to Garcia were told by us. Oh, sorry. No. We already read this one. Yeah, sorry. So nice. I bookmarked it twice. So we got Meltzer stars to get into as well. But Dave Meltzer is just a disgusting pig as well, which we're going to get into. He's a complete and utter pig. And but we're going to go over his fake stars in the beginning, like Meltzer. And then I deleted that tweet swiftly. And then I admitted, I got worked by fake stars, but I still feel the same about Seltzy Meltzy. And so the all-in rating. So Swerve and Bryan was 5.25 stars. I don't know about that. Darby versus Perry was 2 3/4. Okay. I don't with this quarter stuff. It's so ridiculous. Mercedes versus Britt was 2.5. Okay. So I mean, it was worse than that, but at least whatever. MJF Osprey 5, of course. Just Osprey. Oh, look, it's Meltzer, bro. Meltzer couldn't even go to WrestleMania when he lives in Northern Cali and they're in Southern Cali, but he can go to all the way across the world or across the pond to London for this. So stupid. Casino Gauntlet 4.5. You're a liar. He's lying through his teeth. Bucks versus FTR versus Acclaim 4.25. 4 stars, dude.
You what?
There's ain't no way. Hook and Jericho 3. Come on. May versus Storm 3 3/4. Yeah, I mean, come on. That's like maybe a 4-star even. At least, I don't know. Phil stars, it was pretty goddamn good. 3 or 4. Trios ladder match 4.5. God damn it. What was that again? Oh, yeah. It just looked like that match was pretty fun. Yeah. But 4.5. Like, we all knew he was going to say that. Team Dustin versus Cage 3 3/4. Get the fuck out of here. Ishii and Willow versus Stokely and Chris 3. So AEW All In, thumbs up 381, 0 thumbs down, 25% in the middle. I'm not saying you have to hate it, but obviously that's like if I did a poll, we're all gonna. Is Tony Khan dumb? You're all gonna vote yes. You know what I mean? But not one person said no. It was a thumbs down overall. That's pretty telling, you know. Yeah, the worst match, Mercedes and Britt, and then Danielson Swerve. For the best match. Okay. So that's Observer, whatever. Don't let those stars trigger you, but it is a little ridiculous. Let's see what else we got here. So this from Brad Becker. Shout out Brad Becker. Shout out Brad Becker, went through an operation. Hope he's doing good. Shout out my homie George Capter, because he's a good homie. Shout out all of chat, but also shout out all Jake's GoFundMe for his kitty. Make sure you share that. And yeah, but this is from Brad Becker. PWT Universe Inhabitant says, don't know if you saw this, PWT, but since when is Meltzer in multiple Hall of Fames? I bet he's in his own Hall of Fame. I don't know any Hall of Fames that Meltzer's in, but let's read this. So he's going back and forth with Disco and basically, and thank you for screen grabbing it, I'm blocked. So this lowdown Dirty D says, exactly, Disco is in the business and not just as a wrestler. He sat in booking meetings, provided ideas, feedback, and had things shot down along with approved. Dave is the mark of marks, friends with the billionaire kid, and neither can handle being criticized. Right? Dave Meltzer quote tweets this and goes, one of us has lasted 42 straight years. Dave, not in the business. You haven't lasted 42 years in the business. Disco Inferno has lasted 42 years of what? Life and working? Like he's worked in clubs, whatever. I don't know what he's done with his life, but like to say lasted 42 years, like in the wrestling business, Dave, you're not in the business, buddy. And is in multiple halls of fame. Dave, oh my God, man. Just taking this so personally. It is so cringe.
Emotional damage.
And then Disco pipes back up. And only one of y'all has been in Ready to Rumble. So how about that? Shout out Disco. But he goes, one of us is willing to debate, the other on his views respectfully, and one of us is not. And that's all that needs to be said by Glenn Gilberti.